After this video, you will never again have a dependence on sugar. On the one hand, people think that sugar is a fuel for the brain, that it gives energy, that it is natural. If it is harmful, why it is in fruit. But on the other hand, most Lude knows that we eat it too much and that it is harmful. An ordinary person on average eats 74 teaspoons of sugar a day. Sugar and hidden sugars have more than 200 names under which they often penetrate our food, and so that to distinguish these names you have to be a doctor of sciences or have the education of a chemist. I wanted to ask an expert in addictions about what sugar does to the brain. What will happen to the brain if there is a lot of sugar? There is a surge of dopamine. This neurotransmitter of pleasure from it is good for you. However, dopamine cells in the brain are not designed to constantly produce dopamine, and in the end they are exhausted exhaling. You eat sugar, but after 20 minutes it drops sharply. And if you do this constantly, dopamine receptors break and stop working. As a child, I ate a lot of sweets. I climbed the buffet and literally ate sugar. I ate different types of sugar, from cookies and candy to ice cream. I was addicted to sugar. I felt better, and the more sugar I ate, the more I wanted it. Went on until I was 28. Then I beat this habit. You eat sugar, you emotionally, it gets better, then you get worse, then you want more sugar, you eat sugar again. And all this is repeated in a circle. Yes, it often comes to such that man Bert eats sugar, but he does it no longer. Like this addiction thirst to get a substance, trying to make dopamine receptors work despite the fact that they do not work. A person continues to try to stimulate them, but they do not work. A person does not feel pleasure, probably trying to evoke an emotion that is not caused just because of sugar does not come out of him. Yes, this is how you said it so well. Formulated in a person already taught brain. He expects that if he eats sweets, he will become good, but at some point, when dopamine receptors no longer work, sweet no longer helps. When you eat sugar, you increase the desire to eat sugar, and sugar now everywhere. Do not go. Some holidays are worth Halloween, Valentine's Day, Christmas, Easter, birthdays, and corporate parties. Must say ignore at parties. No one wants to communicate with me. I do not drink alcohol. Don't eat garbage food. Don't eat sugar. I don't take cookies in general. I'm like an outcast, but I still go to them. I stand in the corner and look how everyone eats sugar. Well, that it can still be fixed, and very easily. In just 72 hours, 3 days, you can go to the fat-burning state called ketos. You no longer want sugar. You can try to use only willpower, but it turns out that you don't always need to get rid of sugar cravings forever. To do this, it is necessary to change the fuel so that the body burns fat. Reduce the amount of carbohydrates in the diet by 3 days to 30 gV per day. This is the first necessary step of the 3-second step to do something with the environment. Ask the family to either hide all the garbage food or throw it out of the house. Was constantly in front of you and seduced you. By the way, when you experience negative emotions, you seem to be out of control to some extent. But in general, emotions are becoming negative. It is very important not to go into the past. In order to maintain control of some events, you will have to either avoid or look for an alternative to step number 3. Instead of eating sugar to raise your mood, raise it somehow differently. After all, this is what you need to improve your mood, to get rid of stress or discomfort or boredom. The ways that I will share with you increase not only the level of endorphins, which improve mood, but also the level of another hormone, oxytocin. Usually, when people think about oxytocin, they think about breastfeeding. During this hormone grows worth cortisol. Also consider the hormone of love. It grows when you love someone or when you have feelings for someone. Also, ways that I will share will increase the level of dopamine. Does not drain for the first workout. They will cheer you up further. Dancing, music, laughter, still long walks in the park, in nature where a lot of space helps a lot of oxytocin from the donor. Oxytocin, it may seem selfish, you sacrifice time and help others for yourself, but as a result, everyone wins. There is something else that can help, and about what I said a lot earlier, instead of training, physical work around the house is more productive, and it will also allow you to distract from problems better than a treadmill. Any hobby that is related to physical work can help do it to regain control of the body and defeat addiction. If suddenly you break, then look at it from a different angle. Do not reproach yourself. Think about, this is so well, okay, I did the experiment, looked what will happen if I break, and it was not good. Personally, I broke down many times until I learned from my own mistakes. 9% of Americans over 20 years old. There are diagnoses that are associated with their diet that have already become an epidemic. Researchers say that most people have eating disorders of addiction, and everything is so serious that people no longer like it, but they do not. May stop if you suddenly broke and ate what was not worth eating. Then add to this protein and add fat ears to a surge of blood sugar and minimize the damage. Since we are talking about the diet, if you want to know about this more, I look forward to you on this course. Create a beautiful body, restore health, and start the natural cleansing of the body with the help of interval fasting. Is not a diet, this is a mode of food intake and their absence, and at the same time you do not starve yourself. When starving, you are a diet burner. Interval fasting is perhaps even more important than a low-carb diet. After all, it is the frequency of food intake that gives chronically elevated insulin that destroys many body systems, including your weight loss abilities. Slimming with health benefits. Interval fasting also solves the problem insulin resistance, which is the cause of slow motion. Practicing fasting, you improve rather than temporary weight loss. I think you impress the results when you try it on yourself are having magical changes. The hunger goes away, you finally burn fat, loses strong craving. Results just fantastic. I can claim that this is probably the best you can do for your how to practice interval fasting to improve health and lose weight on my new course. Follow the link below. Warning: sugar destroys the brain. The effect of sugar is very similar to the effects of cocaine and heroin on certain parts of the brain. And the experimental rat prefers sugar to cocaine if there is a choice. Sugar can change hormones and thereby literally cause anxiety in a person, even though there is no reason for anxiety. But long before that, a mild form of dementia occurs. You start losing your memory, forgetting things like, where did I put my keys? You can forget names, lose clarity of thinking. And finally, sugar enters the hippocampus, the part of the brain responsible for memory. So if you eat a lot of sugar and end up developing prediabetes or diabetes, everything is caused by sugar. You are told that the brain needs sugar to survive. Indeed, the brain can work on glucose. The problem is that with an excess of glucose, something develops that prevents the absorption of glucose. At any given time, there should be just 1 teaspoon of glucose in our blood, but people eat much more than that. Where does it go? Insulin stores sugar in the form of glycogen, and the excess in the form of fat. Most excess cholesterol is formed from carbohydrates, from sugar. With excess sugar in the diet, insulin levels rise, and the pancreas must work harder. But doctors rarely check fasting insulin levels, and on average, they are very high. The pancreas produces more and more insulin, and over time, insulin resistance develops in the brain and other tissues. When this happens, insulin no longer removes sugar from the blood. Glucose levels rise. That's diabetes. Due to insulin resistance, glucose is no longer absorbed and doesn't nourish brain cells. The cells are starving. And it's not just sugar, it's hidden sugar too. Starch is often worse than sugar. You drink juice and think, it's from oranges, but it's pure sugar. The most important thing you can do for your diet is to reduce your intake of carbohydrates. A low-carb diet provides huge benefits and can even help reverse diabetes in 10 weeks. But the media won't tell you that. Sugar and starch are highly addictive. Many chemicals are added to them. Low-protein foods make it hard to feel full. When you cut carbohydrates, your body stops relying on glucose for energy and starts using ketones, a cleaner fuel from your own fat. Ketones nourish the brain. Your mood improves, your focus sharpens, you learn better, and brain fatigue disappears. I check my genes, and it turns out I have a weak point when it comes to feeling full. If I don't eat enough fat or protein, I literally can't get satisfied. Carbohydrates and frequent snacks make this worse. But I found that when I eat more protein, I feel full longer and don't need to snack. Protein solves the carbohydrate problem. If you eat enough protein and fat, cravings disappear and the need for snacks decreases. It's not just about cutting carbs, it's about replacing them correctly. Replace them with grass-fed meat, eggs, fish, and other natural sources. Healthy fat and protein quickly fix insulin problems and restore mental clarity. Eat enough high-quality protein without carbs. That's one of the simplest and most powerful health tips. Many people are addicted to junk food, but there are plenty of delicious, healthy alternatives. You can have Greek yogurt without sugar, or chocolate made with zero sugar. There are many alternative recipes for bread, pasta, and cereal. You don't have to deprive yourself. Just replace bad food with something better. For example, chicken and creamy tomato sauce, a delicious Indian dish. Usually, restaurant versions are full of sugar, but the same taste can be achieved with just spices. You can enjoy food without sugar and without snacks. Yes, the brain can use sugar, but it doesn't need much. Like a plant needs water, but too much water kills it. That 1 teaspoon of sugar your body needs can be made by the liver from non-sugar sources. So we don't really need to eat sugar. Let's summarize. The most effective way to solve cognitive problems, low mood, and brain fog is to eliminate sugar, hidden sugars, and starches, and replace them with high-quality proteins and fats. Recently someone asked, Dr. Berg, if sugar is so harmful, why are fruits healthy? First, I never said fruits are healthy. Modern fruits are hybrids, bred to be sweeter. For example, one Honeycrisp apple has about 19 g of sugar, while wild apples have almost none. We eat fruit with artificially high sugar content. Second, fruits are meant to be seasonal, not eaten year-round. Also, fruit juice is not the same as whole fruit. Juice is pasteurized, killing enzymes and vitamins. It's basically pure sugar. Whole fruits, however, contain fiber, vitamins, minerals, and phytonutrients that protect the body. But fruits also contain fructose, which goes directly to the liver, not the entire body like glucose does. Because of that, fructose doesn't raise blood sugar right away, but it burdens the liver. Too much fructose leads to insulin resistance and fat buildup in the liver. So my advice? If you have problems with blood sugar or diabetes, limit fruit, especially sweet kinds, and stick to small portions of berries. Think about it, diabetes means high blood sugar. So why eat fruit that only adds more sugar? That's it. Thank you for watching, and see you again.